It is ridiculous how people always say money can't buy happiness, yet they'll trample each other for a taste of it. Jane learned this the hard way when her so-called college sweetheart left her the moment he discovered she wasn't just another girl struggling with rent, but the heir to a vast fortune. The betrayal still stung, sharp as broken glass under bare feet. By the time she turned 28, Jane Carter was already a millionaire many times over, running the empire her father left behind. She lived in New York but could never shake the loneliness that clung to her penthouse walls. Parties, champagne, business deals, none of them could drown the ache of not knowing who would ever love her for herself, and not her bank account. So she made a reckless decision one spring afternoon. She would disappear into a quieter life, posing as an ordinary woman in a small suburban town in Massachusetts. She rented a modest house, wore second-hand jeans, and drove a battered old Ford. What she didn't expect was to meet Lily. Lily Parker was sunshine wrapped in freckles and a smile that could heal wounds money never could. She worked as a nanny for a local family, caring for 2 children with patience and tenderness that felt almost foreign in a world full of ambition and greed. Jane first saw her at the park, crouched on the grass as she tied a little boy's shoelaces, her laughter spilling out like music. For the first time in years, Jane's chest tightened not with fear or suspicion, but with something warmer, more dangerous. Their paths crossed again when Jane volunteered at the local library, trying to keep up her ordinary woman act. Lily came in with the children, balancing picture books in her arms, her hair a little messy from the wind. When their eyes met, Jane felt exposed, as if Lily could see right through her carefully constructed disguise. They started talking. Small things at first: the weather, favorite books, the stubbornness of children. But conversation stretched longer, weaving into deeper corners. Childhood memories, heartbreaks, dreams too fragile to share with just anyone. Jane found herself laughing more with Lily in a week than she had in years surrounded by million-dollar contracts. Yet the closer they grew, the heavier the secret sat on Jane's chest. Every time Lily looked at her with trust, every time she touched her hand just a moment too long, Jane wanted to confess. But she couldn't. She was terrified that once Lily knew the truth, she'd be just another person who saw dollar signs instead of a heartbeat. The turning point came one rainy night. Lily had just put the children to bed and offered Jane a ride home. The storm blurred the world outside, and when the car stopped in front of Jane's modest rental, neither moved. Instead, silence filled the air, heavy with unspoken questions. "I feel like I've known you forever," Lily whispered, her voice trembling. Jane swallowed hard, her throat dry. "I feel the same." The kiss was inevitable, soft at first, then desperate, as if both women had been starving for something only the other could give. It was fire and safety all at once. But when Jane pulled away, guilt stabbed her. She was building a romance on a lie, and lies had a way of burning everything to ash. That night Jane couldn't sleep. She stared at the ceiling, heart torn between fear and desire. Would Lily still want her if she knew the truth? Or would the love they were creating collapse the moment money entered the equation? Days passed, each filled with stolen glances, lingering touches, and growing intimacy. Lily would sometimes curl up next to Jane on the couch, laughing at silly TV shows, and Jane would fight the urge to blurt out her secret. But her silence was cracking. The deeper she fell, the harder it became to breathe. Then came the moment Jane dreaded. Lily's employers, the wealthy Whitmans, invited Jane to a charity gala. They assumed she was just another ordinary neighbor. But when Jane walked into the grand ballroom, her name whispered through the crowd like wildfire. She was recognized. The Jane Carter, millionaire, heiress, business magnate. And Lily's face shattered. Lily froze under the crystal chandeliers, her lips parting but no words escaping. The glittering ballroom seemed to close in, filled with curious stares and murmurs. Jane tried to move closer, but Lily stepped back, her eyes wide with betrayal. "You lied to me," Lily whispered, barely audible over the music. "All this time." Jane's stomach dropped. She reached out, but Lily shook her head and walked away, her heels clicking like thunder against the marble floor. The rest of the night blurred. Jane smiled mechanically at investors, dodged questions, signed checks. But inside she was breaking. She had been so afraid Lily would leave once she knew the truth, and now that fear had manifested exactly as she'd imagined. The following days were unbearable. Jane called, texted, even went by the Whitman's house, but Lily refused to see her. The children Jane adored looked confused when they realized Miss Jane wasn't coming around anymore. Nights stretched endlessly in Jane's penthouse, the same walls she had once tried to escape now pressing down like a cage. But Jane wasn't the kind of woman who gave up easily. That fire, the same one that had helped her build an empire, now fueled her determination. She would fight for Lily not with money, not with gifts, but with honesty. One evening as summer rain slicked the sidewalks, Jane found Lily sitting on a park bench near the playground. The children she cared for had gone home. It was just the two of them, shadows under a single lamppost. "Lily," Jane said softly, almost pleading. Lily's eyes flicked up, guarded. "What do you want, Jane? Another excuse? Another story?" "No," Jane said firmly. "Only the truth. I should have told you from the beginning. I was terrified you'd look at me and see only money. Everyone else always has. But with you it was different. You looked at me like I was just me." Her voice cracked, but she pushed on. "I'm not asking you to forgive me right away. I just need you to know that everything between us was real. The laughter, the late nights, that kiss, it wasn't about wealth or power. It was about you. Only you." Lily's lips trembled. Her heart screamed to believe, but the wound was still fresh. "Do you even know how humiliating it felt? Standing there, realizing I'd fallen for someone I didn't even know." Jane stepped closer, rain catching in her hair. "You do know me. Maybe not the headlines, not the boardrooms, but the woman who sat with you at the library, who walked kids home with you, who learned how much sugar you take in your coffee. That's me. That's the truth that matters." Silence stretched. The rain softened, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Lily's defenses began to crumble, her tears mixing with the drizzle. "I wanted so badly to hate you," she admitted. "But when I close my eyes, all I see is you holding my hand like it meant something." Jane reached out slowly, giving Lily every chance to pull away. But Lily didn't. Their fingers touched, tentative, then locked together like they belonged. "I'm scared," Lily whispered. "So am I," Jane replied. "But maybe that's what makes this real." Their kiss under the lamplight wasn't fiery or desperate like the first one. It was gentler, deeper, a promise whispered into the night. From then on, things weren't magically perfect. There were arguments, moments of doubt, whispers from outsiders who couldn't understand why a millionaire would fall for a nanny. But Jane and Lily chose each other again and again. They built their relationship not on wealth, but on quiet mornings with coffee, evenings filled with laughter, and trust slowly rebuilt brick by brick. Months later, Jane surprised Lily with a visit to the same library where they had first truly spoken. She pulled out a children's book, its pages worn from countless little hands. "Do you remember this?" Jane asked with a smile. Lily laughed, tears glistening. "Of course I do. You couldn't stop laughing at the silly voices I made." Jane knelt, her voice trembling. "I don't need another gala or another deal. What I need is a life with you. Will you share it with me?" Lily's answer was wordless. She cupped Jane's face, kissed her with all the certainty in the world, and the library seemed to glow with the warmth of two souls finding home. They weren't the cliché of a rich woman rescuing the working girl, nor the tragic story of love lost to lies. They were simply two women who had stumbled, fallen, and chosen to rise together. And in the end, Jane realized something no amount of money had ever taught her. Real love doesn't care about wealth or status. It cares about late-night confessions, about holding on even when it's hard, about finding someone who sees you when the rest of the world only sees your fortune. Underneath it all, she was just Jane. And that was exactly who Lily loved. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe to get notifications about next videos.